Riga, the capital of Latvia, Mira Street 25. This building might look small, but it has a great meaning for one of the world's leading pharmaceutical companies, Roche. Built in 1932, it symbolizes prosperity and development of the company far beyond the borders of its origin country, Switzerland. This was used to be the company's main office in the Baltics from the moment it was built and up until 1940, when Latvia was occupied by the Soviet Union and the building nationalized. Now, 70 years later, the company got back the building to bring it to a new life. This building is a work of famous Latvian architect Alexander Klinklavs. It's very fundamental and designed to stay for ages.
The building represents a nice expression of a rationalism architecture period.
But the building has one very serious problem. It is sinking. During almost 90 years, its northern side went down by more than half a meter. Nothing could stop this 3,000-ton structure from sinking, and this generated many structural problems, including cracks in the walls. The building was condemned.
This building has made only one single journey in its life, downward. Miss level of 59 centimeters between two opposite corners is really a big and important problem.
The Italian company Novatek, with the help of engineer Bruno Gemmi, accepted this challenge. The company used its patented technology, lift pile, to lift the building. The building sinks because of the soil. If it is not dense enough, the whole structure or part of it goes down. So the lift pile technology by Novatek works like this. Dozens or even hundreds of modules are driven deep into the ground until they reach solid layers of the soil. After it's done, the tops of the piles are connected to the hydraulic jacking system, which generates the pushing force. After the lifting is done, the gap between the soil and the basement of the building is filled with a special composite material. It doesn't sound too complicated, but in practice it is, especially in the case of the Mira 25 project. The building is very solid and heavy, and the failure level of this project really big. The Mira 25 Resurrection project has been started with calculations done by Novatek in cooperation with the experts from Riga Technical University.
The biggest challenge here is to exactly guess what kind of forces and how much forces we need to move this building and to reach our target.
These calculations were essential to understand how many piles are needed to lift 3,000 tons of heavy structure and to deal with all the risks and concerns.
It's a statistical analysis of load to understand and to figure the quantity and then geometry and even basically the feasibility of our project. The force we have to apply and the distribution of these forces to limit the crack and the damages in the building were the two main concerns and the two main challenges for this job.
When the calculations are done, it's time for the practical side of the job. The Novatek team started to drill the foundation of the building to put in place 339 piles which would be used to lift the building. When it's done, the piles are pushed into the ground. The pushing of every pile continues until the right pushing force is reached. Each pile is able to generate more than 20 tons of pushing force. On average, the piles went around 14 meters deep into the soil. Also, the building had to be disconnected from all communication systems.
It's so an unusual movement, the one we impose to the building, lifting it up, that whole water intake, gas intake, sewage, all must be disconnected.
When this was done, all the piles were connected by the Novatek team to the basement and the jacking system. This transformed the basement of the building into a net of hydraulic tubes. After 2 months of long preparation, the building is ready for the first push. This is the moment of truth. The first push is the heaviest, as the pile system has to deal with hardly predictable suction effect produced by the soil beneath the building. The first push is successful. The building starts to move. From now on, several pushes per day are made. Each push lifts the building for some several centimeters. During and after every push, The building is diligently monitored to see if the movement produces any new cracks, which could cause harm to the structure. Luckily, the 90-year-old reinforced concrete dealt with the upward movement very well. The lift pile is the only technology in the world which allows to lift a building in a 100% controlled and delicate way. All the way up took around 2 weeks.
At November the 30th, we did the last push, the final push, that make this building perfectly leveled.
The whole process was controlled not only by the Novatek team and the engineer Jemmy, but also by one four-legged spy caught on the crime scene. After the building was leveled, part of it literally was in the air. It was time to fill the gap between the soil and the foundation. Special composite material was used for this purpose. When it's done, the building will be ready for its new life. By the end of the year 2019, the restoration of the building will be finished, and it will become the office of one of the world's leading pharmaceutical companies.